But tell me more about this other HBO show, How to with John Wilson, that I caught. What was the finale? I thought there was going to be more. They shortened him also to 7 episodes.
Yeah, yeah. Just a couple and out. That's it for one of the most singular creators out there right now.
Wait. Final season?
Final season.
He went off with that?
Yeah, man. It's over. It's gone.
Did you catch up on it all?
I did. I really loved those last couple of episodes. I thought it does. It does a lot of the stuff that John Wilson does best, in that he sort of like manipulates you and uses this sort of like odd footage in ways that are so unexpected. Like, he is the absolute king of B-roll, because the way that he's able to pair his narration with these images is so funny. I thought it was very clever that they sort of do this sort of showing you the magic trick element in the penultimate episode, where he reveals that one of the shots was staged on a soundstage in order for them to get a tax credit. And then the episode culminates with that sort of like explosion thing. To me, it's sort of like, that is the clear influence of like Nathan Fielder or something like that on the show, where it gets a little bit more meta and a little bit more surprising, I guess, because you like it has this appearance of a documentary, but it's comedy. Like, it's being manipulated for the sake of comedy. So I thought that was kind of brilliant.
I think that this season, How to Work Out and How to Watch the Game, were some of the best episodes he's released, dude. I absolutely adore them. I would recommend, if you haven't even seen any of the other episodes, catch those. I thought How to Watch Birds was the worst episode he ever released.
I thought those were the best.
I thought it was an excuse to talk about how he felt about something that was called out for him. And then instead of being like, yeah, it was fake, and so were all these other things, is a way to double down on the thing you felt insecure about, in my opinion. To me, I had a big issue with season 2 being that his whole premise is him the one with the camera. He's the one with it. And then they started obviously showcasing that he's got several people who record it, which kind of takes away from it. I think the whole push has always been that, and that episode was him saying, yeah, well, it's a show. What did you expect? I think
I don't know. Maybe that's your love of it, but I think it doesn't necessarily have to be him behind the camera. He's the one who's sort of like orchestrating it, and the idea is that like these are the things that we can all sort of like come across. To me, the thing that's really beautiful about the show is not like, look at all these things that he saw, but rather like, look at all the things that you just see out in the world. Like, one of the things that I'm really sad about in losing this show, and one of the things that I think they do extremely well in that final episode, How to Track Your Package, is that he is one of the most curious documentarians out there. And he's somebody who has a willingness and an interest in profiling the types of people who just simply do not show up in other stuff. He's talking about he's able to highlight stories that are not shown anywhere else in media, whether it's like going to some guy's house who makes like masturbation material for other people online, or the guy who's like chronicling everything that happened on The Bachelor, or that final like really kind of melancholy visit to the man who like self-castrated. Like, it's just like he uncovers these really unique people. And like part of the charm is that it is him being welcomed into all of these places, but the idea that sort of connects them is just a curiosity about the world around you.
100%.
Yeah.
And to me, 5 is the take of, sometimes I can't get the shot that I want, so I fabricate it. That is exactly what he says in episode 5. How to Watch Birds is this idea that the people who watch birds, you're taking the entire society of bird watchers' word for when they see something.
Yeah.
And he addresses that as like, wow, some people can be liars. I feel guilty. I actually kind of lied to y'all about some things. And in not apologizing for it and saying it's wrong over here, I kind of did the same thing. Yeah. Actually, I've done it a couple of other times as well, and then I'm going to double down on this with what you said. It's interesting, this implosion episode. I felt like it was just him pulling a Tom Cruise. Never apologize for something that you know you wouldn't like done elsewhere.
Right. And I guess the idea is whether or not you think he needs to apologize for that. I think that like
he felt the need to make an episode about it.
No, I mean I think he's exploring the idea of reality and documented reality, because like obviously everything is sort of heightened or altered once it's documented, and the point of documentary is to like sort of highlight different truths, but sometimes in order to highlight those truths, you have to include things that aren't always truthful, and whether that is stage shots and recreations and stuff like that, those are elements that have been central to documentary filmmaking all the way back to Nanook of the North, you know, like this. So I think it's just like an inventive comedic take on something that is like central to documentary. Like, I don't feel like lied to. I feel like he's sort of just opened the curtain a little and given us a peek. I kind of love that, to be honest.
I think he confessed to some shots that people thought were all him, and him going, okay, some of them weren't. But hey, that's the way things are.
Yeah. To me, that doesn't make it any lesser of a show. I don't
think it makes it lesser of a show. I think it's just a way to be like, okay, what I was selling you wasn't what I was selling you.
Sure, but you know, I think you always have to take that attitude into documentary filmmaking.
We're also split on the Nathan Fielder thing, which I think is what you're saying. He has a lot of influence there. I also feel that Nathan Fielder covering what he did in the rehearsal was him also going so close to committing what he's calling out in the rehearsal. So
yeah, but you got to be on that edge of danger. I don't know. I love that stuff. Speaking of getting help from other filmmakers, that GQ interview that I linked to, it's a really fascinating look into the end of the series. But inside of that, he talks about getting Steven Soderbergh's help for that shot of the car exploding.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. Yeah.
So clearly the luminaries are giving John Wilson his approval. I don't know. I'm just very like, I feel very kind of bittersweet about this ending, just because I love the show. I'm so thankful it exists. I think particularly that last episode is so beautiful, and his little like thank you for watching my movies like kind of made me well up. But I also just I mourned the idea of this guy not being able to make this stuff more on the regular. I hope we'll see a lot more from John Wilson. Like maybe he's going to move into feature-length documentaries or whatever. Easily. But you know, this is just such an interesting medium for his talents, and there's nothing else out there like it. Like there's other great comedies, there's other interesting documentaries, but there's nothing that's like How To with John Wilson.
I agree. I went all the way back to catch some of his older stuff on Vimeo. Have you seen his How to Sundance?
I actually haven't.
Bro, I'm going to send you the link.
Please.
We'll probably even link it down below. Again, I appreciate that episode for what it is and for what he's revealing, that like almost like you said, Wizard of Oz, peel behind the curtain.
Right.
But there's just something about his honesty that to me, that's what's always attracted me. Not having to fabricate something. And they hired this man to go do Sundance. Bro, when I tell you it's everything that we vent about and more, he actually went the year of 2017, my first year. So I had an extra added element of like, yo, I was there for a lot of these things you're calling out. It is a Sundance video provided by Sundance that I would have never paid this man to make. And it's that brutal honesty that I hope he continues to go with, because again, and my only reason for why there's a lot of fabrication that happens in documentaries, you don't ever want to go the route that you end up becoming that all gas no brakes and then you fall off the pedal, right? So for me, I hope he continues making a lot of the stuff that he did with How To with John Wilson, all the previous ones that he did when he was on Vimeo, and I would freaking love to see him make a feature documentary. There's no way he hasn't had the ability to pitch a lot of things, and I think whenever he does his first features, you and I are going to be wherever that plays or whatever festival, we're going to be some of the first there to see it.
Absolutely. I mean, he did attach his name as an executive producer of this documentary that I think is in theaters now, Carpet Cowboys.
Did you catch it?
I saw it. I wasn't really that taken with it. Yeah, it's all right.
It's all right, yeah.
It definitely feels like something that John Wilson would have done.
For sure. Yeah. All right, well, farewell to John. Farewell to Winning Time.